Hey everyone, welcome back to episode number 3 of my little survival guide. So, welcome on back everybody. I'll just head out, so can I make it outside? Like a pro. There we go. So last time we were on an episode, we were able to start our first initial base, as you can see. And also over in this corner over here, we started to plant some of our initial crops. We have up here our wheat, which is still not fully grown just yet, and our sugarcane. So that's where we got to in the last episode. So let's just go inside our house. Oh, we might have to go rescue that guy and just talk about what we're going to do today. So in today's episode, we're actually going to focus on two things. The first thing is talking about house essentials. So what are the key things that you need for a house? So in here, we're looking at things like bed, furniture, lighting, and everything like that. It'll make our lives a little bit easier in the early survival. So what kind of things do you need from day one? And also what we're going to do is we're going to round up some animals today and we're going to create ourselves a little bit of a farm outside for food and resources. Now the sun is going down, so let's just put our bed down. So that's the first thing we can talk about today is our bed. So we probably want to put this somewhere in our house. I'm just going to put it here just now for us to sleep. So you want to make sure that you have your bed within your house somewhere nice and safe. Now we don't have any windows, but fortunately, you know, we haven't had any creepers attack us yet. We will fix the situation with the windows later on once we get some glass. But that is our first thing we need, is our bed. The second thing is probably we can place down, I've got our crafting table and a furnace. Now these can pretty much go anywhere you want, ideally near the front of the house so they're easily accessible. So I put the crafting table in the corner and then maybe put the furnace maybe right next to it here. That'll do. And you can start to think about, well, where do you want to position everything? It doesn't really matter for early days. You can change all this later. It's not a problem. But certainly your crafting table, your furnace, and your bed are probably the first three things you want to be putting down in your house. Now, the next thing is probably thinking about storage. Now, as you can see, our inventory here is getting rather full. So what we need to do is we need to craft one of a few things to store our contents within. So you can either use chests. That would be option number 1. So you can use chests. Number 2 is you can use barrels. 3, you could use shulkers, which you won't have at this point of the game, and even ender chests as well. So those are normally the kind of 4 key ways of storing items, but we'll stick with the basics until maybe later on in the series. So let's just have a look at our crafting table and just type in the word chest into our inventory. Now you can see I currently can't craft it because I don't have enough wood, but if I just show you what the recipe is, we're just looking for planks all round the outside. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 planks create 1 chest. So we don't obviously have that volume just now. So one of the things we'll probably want to do is take our oak logs that I had before, and I can turn my oak logs into planks. If you don't have any oak logs or any other logs, in my seed here, you can see there is a vast amount of trees. Just go cut a few down and you should be good to go. So let's just put in our logs. Turn them into planks again. Remember holding the shift key. We've got 52, and then we can go into here again into our crafting table and get some chests. So I'm actually going to go for quite a few here. Let's go for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put them in our inventory. Now, where you store these again is entirely up to you. There's no real right or wrong answer. It's just however you feel you wish to store your items. I think I'm going to put them up here, maybe against it in this corner, maybe. I think that's probably out of the way. Maybe stack them up here. So if you right click a chest, you'll place it down. And again, similarly, if I just place it above here, it goes above it. Now, sometimes the one thing you'll find is if you put the chest right next to it, if you just right click it, they then expand, giving you a much larger chest than a single storage chest. If you wish 2 chests to be separate but not touching each other, one of the things I normally do is I normally just hold down the shift key. I know you crouch, but if you hold down the shift key and then right click, they're no longer connected. So you can actually have individual chests right next to each other if you want to split things up a little bit better. So in this one here, for example, we might want to put more of our flowers and trees and sort of like greenery and plants, maybe food. Put all that kind of in this one. There we go. We've got quite a wee bit of food that we've gathered since the last episode. Put the bread in there, pumpkins and the cooked mutton. Lovely. Over here on the right, you might want to put tools in here, for example. So our old sword that we no longer need, Maybe any old spades or shovels, pickaxes, arrows. Maybe our compass could go in that one. Probably maybe put our coal in here too. And then coming down below, we can maybe just put everything else. So again, I'm going to hold down the shift key. Instead of dragging and dropping, I can just hold down the shift key and that puts everything in. So now what we have is a nice and clean inventory. And we have our storage system to place things in. So those are probably from day one. Obviously, we're not far. If we go at F3, you can see that I'm only on day 13. But very early on, you can pretty much have this set up yourselves, and that is what we're probably going for. This is going to be nice and safe, other than maybe this part of my house, because we've got no glass. You'll be pretty safe within here, especially with having a door at the front. Now, a couple of things you might notice from here is I don't actually have any lighting. So when it comes to lighting, you've got a couple of different options. So go back at my chest, I'm going to grab my sticks, and I'm going to grab my coal. Now, by using these two combined, what we can do is open up our crafting recipes. Now, we don't have to use a crafting table for this, but there are our torches. What you do is you place all the sticks at the bottom, place your coal at the top, and it'll give you 4 torches. So if I just click maybe, how many do we need? Maybe 4 or 5 stacks. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gives us 20. And then what we can do in the interior of our house is we could probably light it up a bit nicer. Maybe put a couple in the corners maybe, just to kind of light it up at night. Now with mobs will still spawn in light levels of 0. So you want to make sure that everything here has a light level of 1 or higher. The way which you can tell is if you just press again the F3 key for the debug tools. I'll highlight it obviously once it's in editing. I'll zoom across it so you can see the actual light level. So right now I'm in a light level of 7, and obviously as I move around, the light level goes up 10, 11, all the way to the corner, 10, 9, 8, 7. So I think the lowest light level in here is a 7 now, which is okay. It's not too bad. As long as it doesn't go below 0, you shouldn't have a problem with mobs spawning inside your house like zombies and creepers. So I'll just place some torches in the corners just now. But one of the things you can also do, and this is a bit expensive for the early game, is you can make lanterns by using iron ingots. Now, just as a quick little example, if I take this over to here, if you turn these into iron nuggets, I'll turn them on to nuggets just now, you can create lanterns, which is 1 torch, 8 iron nuggets, and it does create your really nice lantern effect. So that's quite good if you want to sort of make this place look a little bit nicer, which we'll obviously focus on in a later episode, and I'll show you guys how some of the nice sort of, some of the nicer techniques of making your house look very homely. We could probably use lanterns. But right now it's just about survival, so we won't worry about the pretty things right now. So I'll turn those nuggets back into ingots, and we'll keep those handy. Right, so we've got bed, chest for storage, furnace, crafting table, and our torches. So we're all pretty much set. So I'm going to keep the torches on me. I'm going to keep the sticks on me and the coal, just in case. Now I'm actually going to take half of the coal. Now it's one thing I'll show you guys as well. If you do have everything stacked together, if you right click on anything, it will always half it. Half again, half again, half again, half again. You always half if you right click on it. So I'll just do that again. I'm going to half that, pop it into my furnace, and I'll use that for later. You know, that could be for our food once we get our food. Right, moving on. So let's jump back to our chest. Let's have a look at some of the stuff that we might want to take with us. Let's have a look and see what stuff we can take with us. So I'm going to take the bucket first of all. We might need that for water or milk. We'll talk about that later. We're also going to be taking from here some food and some bread. That'll do just now. And I think that's probably everything that we need in the meantime. There's not much else we're going to require. So one thing I'm going to do just now, I'm going to go on a quick little adventure. I might time lapse this a little bit, I'm not sure, but I'm looking for sand. Now, the reason why I'm looking for sand just now is I'm waiting for my crops to grow. Now, the crops are obviously, you can see them there, they are growing and they are getting there very slowly. So by the time I go get sand and come back, these should all now be grown. So the reason why I want to go and get sand is sand gets turned into glass. I can add some glass to these windowsills, and that will then enable us to sort of be a little bit more protected. So what we'll do is we'll just jump down here. We'll see if we can find any sand. There may be sand kicking around here. So I'll pop down. I'll just get my shovel at the ready, because you want to try and use a stone shovel if you can. Or any type of shovel. It will really help. So we've got some gravel here. I think that's some sand there. So we'll just jump down here, we'll try and grab some. Remember, pay attention to the water bubbles there just above my food bar. We'll just make sure that it doesn't go too low. We'll just get enough for some windows. 2, 1, we'll just pop back up again. We'll get a couple more. And again, it's just, you know, you don't have to use glass as well, guys. What you can do is you could obviously use wood, you could use fences, you know, you could use gates. There's lots of different techniques that you can use to not have glass in it, but still keep the mobs out. As long as you've got that space filled in with something, that'll keep you nice and safe. Oh, I'll push this one. You shouldn't really do that, but let's go and grab this last piece of glass. Right, so we have 19. So let's just hop back up to our house up here. Shouldn't take us a second. This is, we're going to make a little path down here, because I guess we'll be coming down here to go fishing later. We'll go get gravel, hopefully get maybe some food. We'll do that later on in the series. So let's just pop back into our house and get this glass going. So, in our furnace, put your sand at the top. And what we're looking for here on the right hand side is we're looking for our glass to output. So it shouldn't be a second. And there we go. 1 glass block. So what I'm going to do, by the powers of editing, I'm going to sit here with this menu open and we're going to wait for this glass to finish, and I'll speak to you just in a second once this is all done. There we go, and by the powers of editing, we have now got more glass. So we should have now 19 glass, a little bit of XP that we've gathered there as well, some experience points, and we are now good to go. Now, you might be wondering, like, Stuart, and you might be wondering, Tree, why have you only got 19? Because there's clearly more than 19 gaps in the walls to try and fill in. Now, the reason for that is what we can do with glass is we can actually make glass panes. Now, just as an example, to make a glass pane, you actually get 16 of them based upon 6 glass blocks. So if I were to hold down the shift key and do 16 times 3, right, we now have 48 glass panes instead of just the original 16 glass blocks. So this does make it a little bit easier for us to just go around our house now. We can just right click and just place them as if they're normal blocks. And we can put them in all the little spaces here and make our house a little bit more mob proof. So hopefully nothing is able to now walk in our house unless it's through the front door, and just makes things that little bit nicer and a little bit safer for us as a player. And I got that right. Perfect. So I don't have to record this twice. So there we go. So I've got 6 glass panes left. So let's put the remainder just into our storage. Let's put this in the bottom, along with some extra dirt I've gathered there. And that's got our glass. So house, a little bit safer, some initial tools. But as we go along, once we get into enchanting, we'll have an episode talking about that and how we need to set up for that. We'll talk about things like grindstones, and just other sort of tools that you might need as you go along. Stone cutters is another one. Can just spring into mind as I'm going through it. These are all things we can add at a later date and even make the place look a bit nicer. But that's our basics. We're all kind of hooked up and we're nice and safe. Now I'm actually going to eat something because my health's going down. And I can hear a cow. However, before we get onto the animals today, let's take a look at our food. So let's just head over here. Let's see how our food's getting on. Now, what we're looking for is this lovely bright yellow. There we go. Oh, must have been a mob's die there. So this yellow here, if we just click on that, oh, it isn't quite ready yet. Now, if we do these ones, you can see it's not quite ready yet. And the way in which you can tell, again, if you hold the F3 button as the sort of debug tool, you can see the crop age. Now, the crop age is on the right-hand side of the screen there. You can see Minecraft Wheat age 6. This one is age 1. Age 2. This one is age 7. So let's just take the age 7. And with it being an age set number 7, we get the wheat. That's the one way to tell if it's ready or not. If you look for anything that's age 7, that's the one that we want to take. So that's 6. We don't want that. There's a 7. We'll take this one. That's a 7. We'll take that one. And that one's a 7 as well. Now visually you can tell because they are a little bit, you can see here, it's a little bit brighter over that one compared to this. This one's a bit darker. Because sometimes you can just tell between them. But it can be a little bit awkward. So anything that's 7 or above, that's the way in which I tell. So at least you're a little bit more efficient if you don't want to wait. So there's 6 and 6, so we have to leave those. Now what happens is you obviously will drop more wheat as you go along as well. So what we can do is we can just keep placing the wheat back down again, and these plants will just continue to grow endlessly. So there we go. So we've placed everything down. I'll take off the debug tool for now because we don't need any more wheat for what we're about to do. And we'll just let that continue to grow as we go over the episode. So just remember, if you're starting to build and plant your wheat, come back to this occasionally, gather up your wheat. And right now we have 7. So, you know, theoretically we could make more bread. Not a lot of it, but it would be really, really handy to have. Now, using the wheat, we're actually going to use this to round up a couple of different animal types using the wheat. And we'll get to that just in a moment. Last thing you might notice before we head on over is our sugarcane's growing. Now, really clever thing you can do here is you just need to hit it above the ground level. So there's level 1. So anything above we can just hit. So let's just walk through, gathering all up our resources. Walk through again, just clicking as if we're breaking a block. I'm going to have 17 sugarcane. Now obviously it's quite difficult. We're going to leave these to continue to grow. And we're going to take all of our resources and take them back up to the house. So just let them grow. They'll replenish over time. And that's your 2 initial food sources that we can continue to use in this game. Let's put our sugarcane away. Let's put our bones that we found in our arrows. We'll put them in here. And we'll also maybe put our all the wheat, apart from probably 1 actually. We'll keep 1 wheat in here and we'll put the rest into there. Because we only need 1 for what we're about to do. Right, so everything over there has started to grow. We've got our sugar cane, we've got our glass in, we're a little bit safer. So today's episode, we're actually going to focus on animals and animal gathering. Now you can see in the distance there, we have actually got some cows, we've got sheep, and we've got pigs. And today's episode, we're going to focus on getting all 3 of those back to us, show you how they can grow, how they can make little baby animals, and how we can replenish that as a good food source. So it's going to be a very basic way of doing it. And then in later on episodes, I'll show you how to make it even more efficient, and then how we can actually use automation and farming together. Just make it a little bit nicer for us. But right now we're just focused on gathering them up. So I'm going to make a couple of animal pens over here to the left-hand side. So let's make some fences. So let's go into our inventory. Now we already have some sticks here, but we probably want to go grab the rest of our wood again. So there's some 20 oak planks, that'll do. Head over here, and there is our fences. So we need at least 4 planks and 2 sticks to do this. Now, I'm going to obviously create a couple here. I've got 6. It probably isn't quite enough. You know, it's not enough for what we want. So we probably want to keep maybe making as many as you can. And it's up to you. Obviously, some people prefer to make lots, but I'm only going to make a small amount. Now, the one thing you need to remember, though, as well as making the fences, you need to make a gate for all the animals to go into. So here's a gate here. It's basically the same recipe, just the other way around. So instead of it being planks on the outside and sticks on the inside, it's now sticks on the outside, planks on the inside. And it's made 1 gate. So that's what we need. So I'm going to make 1 animal enclosure just now to show you. And then obviously I'll probably create a few more, obviously not off the video, but when you come back after I build the first one, you might see I've created a couple more. Now I think I'm just going to put these over here. I think it's probably the easiest way to do it. I haven't really thought of a plan of where to store everything yet, but I think the animals could be on this side. So I'll make 1, clear out the grass here. I'll make 1 here. So let's go 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 1 there and 1 there. That'll do. Lovely. That's our first little animal pen, and we're going to try and get some animals into here and see if we can keep them in. Now, to do that, we're going to go for cows first of all, because there's 1 cow here, and we could probably just show you some of the basics with this guy right now. So the one thing that you need is wheat, and as you can see, the cow is interested. So let's just take that off and walk away. As you can see with the bread, he's not following, but when I go near this guy with the wheat, he's going to follow you. Wherever I go with the wheat, he is going to come with me. So that's why it's really important to have a food source, like wheat growing, so we can get our animals and draw them in. So let's just take this guy. I'm going to right click on my pen here. So this bit can sometimes be a little bit difficult is to get them through. So I'll try and maybe nudge this guy into place. There we go, lock him in. And that's our first animal. Now, it's actually reasonably easy to do. Now, with wheat, you can obviously do cows and you can do sheep. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down, get some more wood, make one more animal pen, and I'm going to go get a sheep. Well, what I'll do is I'll make it into a bit of a time lapse for you guys to speed this up a little bit, and I'll be back in the morning and I'll show you the little trip. So I'll see you in a little bit. Enjoy this little time lapse as we go get one of every animal. I'll make all the fence posts, make it look nice and lovely, and I'll catch you guys in a couple of minutes. Enjoy the time lapse. There we go. And as if by magic, we have our animals. So we have our sheep and we now have our cows, both of which are attracted to wheat. So let's just do a little bit of an experiment. We'll go back into our house and we'll just grab the other remaining wheat that we grew. So let's just go grab that real quick. So you can see it was actually fairly straightforward. You just have to take your time sometimes to let the animals follow you. It doesn't normally take too long. Just be careful of obviously the daylight and you don't want to be going too far away. And that's why I picked this location to live in, because I did notice there was lots of animals that we could really get to easily for this series. Just be careful in your worlds that you might not be that close to animals. So your food sources may entirely be filled with potatoes or carrots or bread. So just kind of based upon where you are, the food sources may change ever so slightly. But let's now just give you, I'm going to feed myself actually. Now, as a little example just now, the sheep over here will eat the grass. Now you might be able to notice that already, they do eat the grass. So what we can do is we'll give you an example of how to mate them first of all. So with using the wheat, you can right click on the sheep and give them little hearts. And what they'll do is if I give those to a couple of different sheep here, there we go, the parrots and the bats. That'll go little baby sheep. There we go, there's a couple in there. And you just have to keep doing that occasionally, every other day, and you'll start to grow again, an ever-growing flock of sheep. Same goes for the cows as well. I'll just right-click on a couple of cows. That uses 2 of my wheat. You can see here another little baby cow is formed. So yeah, nice and easy. Get yourselves a little wheat farm set up over there. Get the wheat, turn the wheat seeds into wheat. What you're going to do once you've got your wheat is then go in search of animals, bring them back, put them into little pens, and that way you've got a little animal farm on the go. So really nice and quick and easy food source from this. So let's just talk about the food source that they do provide you with. So first of all, with the sheep here, they give you button, but they also give you wool. Now you can either just take the wool by using shears, which we don't have just yet, but what I can do is by using the 2 iron ingots that we found earlier, we can turn these into shears. Now I'm not going to do that just now because we don't need to, but you know, you could use that to get wool, which will then subsequently give you a bed. The other thing you can also do here is probably you could kill the animals, which we're not going to do right now, but each of those will produce at least 1 piece of mutton, if not sometimes up to 3. Now over here on the left hand side, you've got your cows. Same situation with the food. They will give you, I think we got any here? No, we've only got the button. They'll give you steaks, but they also provide you with leather. So yeah, so we get a good source of food from both leather from cows, wool from sheep is a really good sort of early food source, but also for other materials that we can use later. Now it's getting dark, so we'll head into bed. So just while we go to bed here, I'll just talk briefly. So for example, the leather will allow us to have picture frames to store within our house. That makes it easier for us to identify what's in chests. And the wool we could use for interior designing, carpets, and also beds. They're definitely really good to have. And later on, maybe later on another episode in the future, if people would like to see it, I can start to show you how to build automated farms where we can have these guys going automatically, gathering all the resources automatically, so you don't have to. There's lots of ways in which we can turn this into a quicker process. So as you can now see over here, we have our cows and we have our sheep. Two of our very early resources that we're going to need for food, leather, and also our wool, and that's probably a good enough start. So rounding them up, get yourself some wheat, guys. There you go, you can see them attracted to the wheat already. Get them into little pens and we can then keep them. Now unfortunately we can't get our pigs over just yet because we don't actually have any carrots. We're going to have to find some carrots to get the pigs in a later episode, so we'll maybe do that. You maybe see one day I'll get pigs on over here. The only other animal we could maybe get just now, although I don't actually see any, is chickens. Now I haven't spotted any roaming about. We could arguably have got some chickens. Chickens are attracted to seeds, so we do actually have some spare seeds from when we went to plant our crops. So we'll just go for a little walk around here, see if we can see any. If not, you know, it's okay, because I'm going to take you over to something that I found while rounding up the sheep. Now you might notice that in the video, you might not have done. I haven't come to editing yet, so you know, we'll see if we get when we get that far, whether you spotted it or not. But I did actually spy our cave. Now the reason why I was looking around anyway for a cave, just say for our next episode, is we are going to go exploring in the next episode down at caves. We're going to be looking for iron for more armor and tools, potentially diamonds as well, and talk about some of the different ore distributions and how you can find things. And this seems like a very large cave. I can see some iron down there, I can see some copper, plenty of mobs, but down there looks like a mine shaft or an abandoned mine. So we're going to go down and have a little look there next time. I don't really see many other ores like diamonds or anything like that. It's a little bit too high up in the world for that. Some coal down there. Yeah, so I can see some bits of both. So that's where we're going to go adventuring next time. We're actually going to go down here and have a little look and see what we can find, and maybe adventure through that abandoned mine shaft. And there'll be lots of little goodies that we can find in there. So currently, as you can see in the top right hand corner, my death counter is still at 0. I would like to hopefully keep it that way. We'll go back up this side, but we'll go down there in our next episode to have a little adventure around. There's going to be lots of little mine entrances here and there. Here's another one, so a little bit of copper. Yeah, at least seems dark and gloomy. So we'll go down there next time, because the things we're going to be working from now, because we have food, we've got our base, we're going to need some armor. So iron is going to be a really critical part of our tools going forward until we find some diamonds, and also we're going to need some armor as well. So that's where we're going to adventure next time, and see if we can get a lot of our next sort of set of tools and resources that we need. Right, now I'm still having a little look around. There's plenty of sheep here, there's plenty of pigs, but I'm not actually finding any chickens. So I think I might have to go on an adventure for some carrots and probably looking for some chickens. I don't see any right now, but that's okay. So that'll be enough for today's episode. Just a nice and short one today. We've gathered up our animals, we have everything that we need, and we've got our crops growing. They're all working fine, and we have our glass all sorted in our house. So we pretty much are safe now. But episode number 4, let's go looking for resources. So let's do that in the next episode. So I think that's definitely enough for right now. I'm probably going to go try find some chickens. I don't know. We'll maybe save that for the next time. But until now, thank you very much again for tuning in to episode number 3. Again, if there's anything you'd like to see in future episodes, just let us know down in the comments below, and we'll look for that in the next episode. But these are all meant to be very basic and introductory for now, for at least the first 10 episodes, and then we'll get to some more advanced stuff after that. Right, till then guys, have a great time, and I'll speak to you all in episode number 4. See you later all.